Hi, I'm Gene Anthes, partner at gbafirm.com and parolelaw.com. I thought I'd take just a couple of minutes to talk to you about what to expect if you've got a loved one who's in jail and what you should do if that person's in jail in Travis County. First, know that the Travis County Jail is a temporary jail. It's a safe jail. They're only going to be held down there for a few days. If they're not released, at that point, they'll move to the Del Valle Jail, which is out by the airport. Now, if your loved one's in jail, just know a couple of things. One, if they're charged with a misdemeanor, the officer has 24 hours to turn in a document called a probable cause affidavit. If your loved one's charged with a felony offense, the officer has 48 hours to turn in that probable cause affidavit. This is important because nobody can get your loved one out of jail until that affidavit is turned in. Once that affidavit is turned in, it's going to be reviewed by a judge called a magistrate. And in Travis County, we have judges that are on duty 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That magistrate judge is going to set that bond amount. Now, if your loved one's charged with a relatively non-violent misdemeanor offense like a DWI or a theft case, the bond amount is typically going to be somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000. If they have no prior criminal history, the odds are very good they're going to get on something called a personal bond. A personal bond means that no money has to be paid, but if the person doesn't show up to court, then the county is going to sue them for that bond amount. To increase the chances of your loved one getting that personal bond, you can call the Travis County Pretrial Services Office and serve as a reference for them. The contact information can be found on my website at gbafirm.com. When you call them, give them your loved one's name, date of birth, and then I'll ask you what their address is, and they'll ask you if they have a problem with drugs or alcohol. Eventually, your loved one will be released. It takes about maybe 24 hours at the most for someone to be processed into jail and out on a personal bond. Once the magistrate sets that bond, the other option is that you can hire a bail bondsman. Take a $5,000 bond, for example. You go to a bail bondsman, you pay a bail bondsman typically 10%, which would be about $500. You don't get any of that money back, and then the bail bondsman acts as a surety to ensure that the person shows up to court. But that $500 bond is for the bail bondsman to keep. The third option is to hire a lawyer. A lawyer can speed up the entire process. So, for example, if they're charged with a misdemeanor offense and the officer has turned in his probable cause affidavit, a lawyer can make sure that probable cause affidavit gets to the judge faster and waive the process of your loved one being magistrated by the judge and speed up the process of getting a personal bond or even a personal bond for a felony case. The final fourth option is to post the full amount of the cash bond. You get that money back at the end of the case, but it sits with the Travis County Sheriff until your loved one's case is resolved. Whatever you do, if you talk to your loved one on the phone while they're in jail, do not talk about the facts of the case. All of those phone calls are being recorded and they can all be used against the person who's actually been arrested. If you have any questions, our phones are answered 24 hours a day, 512-476-2494. You can also find us at gbafirm.com. We hope you never need us, but we're here if you do.